Howdy, and welcome to Thursday's edition of Fresh Daily Bread. Now, we are continuing the series on prayers and exhortations found in the Psalms with this week's discussion on a prayer of forsakenness. Now, today's portion is trust in a caring God. Our scripture reference is Psalm 22, verses 19 through 21. Now, in Psalm 22, verse 19, David again pleaded with God not to remain distant. His cry, but be not thou far from me, O Lord, was not just a desperate request, but a declaration of faith. Despite feeling abandoned, David still turned to God as his source of strength. He addressed God as my strength, showing that even in his weakness, he believed God was his only hope and support. He also called him Lord, using God's covenant name Yahweh, which points back to God's self-revelation in Exodus 3:14 as the great I am. This name emphasizes God's eternal, unchanging nature and his faithfulness to his promises. David may have felt forsaken in that moment, but he clung to the truth that the covenant-keeping God would never truly abandon him. Now, in verses 20 and 21, David cried out for deliverance. The pain and pressure described in verses 14 through 18, his physical suffering, emotional anguish, and the taunts of his enemies were more than he could bear. He compared their attacks to wild animals, dogs, lions, and bulls, emphasizing that ferocity and cruelty of what he was facing. Yet in the face of overwhelming idols, David did not give up. He knew that deliverance could come only from one place, God himself. This is a powerful reminder for believers today. When we go through dark seasons, and we will, the enemy would love to convince us that God has forgotten us or no longer even cares. But that's a lie. 1 Peter 5:7 reassures us to cast all our anxiety on him because he cares for us. We are not forgotten. We are deeply loved. God not only cares, but he knows us intimately, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our limits, and he still loves us. Now, Psalm 103, verses 14 and 15 tells us that he remembers we are dust. He understands what we can endure, and he does not allow us to be tested beyond what he has prepared us to handle. In fact, trials serve a purpose. Job 23:10 declares, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. And James 1:12 reminds us that those who endure testing will receive a crown of life. Trials are not signs of God's absence. They are opportunities for our faith to grow and be refined. David's example encourages us to keep crying out, keep trusting, and keep holding on, even when we don't feel God's presence. The God who seemed silent was still listening. And guess what? He still is. Thank you, and I pray that you've enjoyed today's edition of Fresh Daily Bread. Now, have you prayed today? Well, Thursday's prayer focus is for revival. Psalms 80:18. Then we will never forsake you again. Revive us so we can call on your name once more. Now remember, Jesus is coming back, and soon. Thursday's blessing. I bless your feet and hands to be ever outstretched to help those in need.